So whilst I'm driving up the road, I'm just taking a note of the temperature on the van here. So when I left home this morning it was +2, but now it's just below freezing. So it gives me an idea that there's been, that the temperature is dropping. Interestingly, looking at the trees around me, all the snow has fallen off the trees, whereas 24 hours ago the snow was sitting on all the trees around here. So that's telling me that yesterday's thaw has certainly had an impact lower down on the mountain here. So I'm now at the journey stage of my day, and I've pulled over just to get a good view of the mountains, just to make note of any observations. So down here the ground's still very frozen, the loch's still frozen, and looking on the hillside I can see there's been a thaw in places, but high up, sort of above 3,000 feet, I can still see that the ground looks pretty frozen because some of the crags are still white. So it means that yesterday's thaw didn't go above the summits for too long. Definitely looking at number 2 and number 3, still got plenty of snow on them. I think that's partly because the snow is already so deep with rime, but also I just don't think the thaw has been that long higher up. So where I've parked the van is at 600 meters, so I'm already quite high up on the mountainside. But as I'm walking in, then I'm looking around and I'm making observations all the time of what's happening around me with the snowpack. On the path here, it's pretty firm, it's pretty compact, but that means that a lot of people have been walking over the path, so that will compress the snow down. If I walk off the side of the path, then I'm looking to see how much I'm supported on the surface. If I break through as I did there, then that gives me a really good idea that I've got a frozen layer. It's only about the first 5 centimeters, and then I drop through, so it's about 15 centimeters deep. So that's telling me that there's been a freeze, but the freeze hasn't been that long, maybe just overnight. So as I go up the hill, it'll be interesting to see if the snow gets firmer or whether I have the same breakable crust. So continuing on with my observations, I'm now stood at around about 800 meters, and what I've noticed is the air temperature is definitely a little bit cooler, but also the snowpack is a little bit more frozen, which is telling me that either it's been colder up here or colder for longer, or a combination of both. And now when I stand on the snowpack, I'm only sinking in maybe 2 or 3 centimeters instead of the sort of 10 to 15 centimeters at 600 meters. So following on from my earlier observations in the day, further down the hill the snow was softer, temperature was a little bit warmer. There'd obviously been a bit of a freeze overnight. As I've moved further up the hill now, it really is sort of confirming what I expected with the weather forecast. There's been a bit of more of a freeze up here. The snowpack is a bit firmer, but confirming with the weather forecast I saw, very light winds, there's no snow being transported, and the cooler temperatures is making me feel really comfortable that the snowpack is stabilising. With this being a key place on my day, I'm happy that the snowpack here is stable, and I'm going to walk up here onto the ridge and continue on with my day.